let's go back to your first point there where you said Gronk is going to be a free agent for the first time. That is wild to think about because to your point there where he said, I only want to play for Tom, Gronk is potentially one of the biggest free agents about to pop off.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's talking about a lot of other. Gronkowski is potentially one of the biggest free agent names out there. I didn't even think about it because I automatically assumed that he was just going to be with Tampa and be with Tom. But now you're like, hey, he's never got to experience this. Maybe he loves football again like he did way back in the day. His body feels good. He's experienced football now in a different way. He got a chance to see what life is like post-football. He knows that's going to be a success. Maybe he'll want to test the waters. There's going to be people that want to grow. Like that Miami theory, Tua with Gronk is probably a much different Tua, I'd assume, right? Tua's biggest issue was he never thought anybody was open, so he'd hang on the ball, and then he'd end up, he wouldn't be able to let loose. Gronkowski is taller, bigger, and he has toilet seats, his hands out there. I would assume that helps out every single quarterback that'd be out there. He's probably going to be a very hot commodity on the free agency market, I'd assume.
100%. And this is what I would tell Gronk. If I was a GM or a head coach and I'm trying to get Gronk to sign on with my team, I would say, listen here, Rob, we're going to take care of you. Wednesdays, Thursdays, you can stay inside, you can lift, you can enjoy yourself, go in the hot tub, do whatever you want. Fridays, you come out, we're going to work red zone. Because from the 20-yard in, that's go-to Rob Gronkowski time. We're going to use you as a red zone threat guy because nobody can cover him in that space. When he runs those sevens and the seam routes right there in that intermediate 15 to 20-yard range, there's nobody that can cover him. The linebackers nowadays, I mean, they're 6'1", 220. They're not going to be able to cover him. You got to put somebody that's at least 6'4" on Gronk. So that's what I think is going to be a best fit for Gronk. What's a team that can, number one, pay him because he's going to deserve – this is the last bite of the apple. This is the last time he has to actually say, okay, I'm going to sign a 3-year deal here. Maybe it's 10, 12 a year. That's the last, maybe more, because another team's going to value him so much more. So it's the last bite of the apple. So if I was Gronk, I'd say, look, I got 4 rings. I just did it again. Let me go out there and let me ball out.
Indianapolis would love to have him.
So Green Bay.
He would love a lot of Indianapolis. Green Bay, I think, would be a great time for him. I mean, just something to think about out there, Gronk. A lot of things were said in our show today that has kind of had ripple effects across the internet at this point. Potential Gronkowski out of Tampa Bay, maybe a 3-year, $30 million deal is somewhere on the table. I completely forgot that Gronk was going to be a free agent potentially coming up. The narrative has always been he's going to stay with Tom. Tom's his quarterback. But Rob Ninkovich, former teammate of his, I would assume potentially friend of his, I'm not 100% sure how often they talk, he's like, hey, Gronk has never been a free agent. He should at least listen to what the market says about him. Maybe a big-ass deal for Rob Gronkowski, AJ.
Who said 3 years, $30 million?
Well, Nink kind of said like somewhere between 10 to 12 million a year. If you get like a 3-year deal, you start doing quick math there, 30 would be the bottom of that thing. I think in a third down in red zone league, which is what the NFL has become, and it kind of always has been, but now even more so with the way offenses can move, is just whether or not you kick field goals or score touchdowns. That's kind of the whole game. Rob Gronkowski is like the king of those two things. I would assume the open market potentially gives him an offer that he will really test his Tom Brady's my quarterback theory, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Oh, I think it could, I guess. I just don't know if someone will give him a 3-year deal. I think a 1 or 2 year and finding a way to get the most guaranteed is what he would like. But, man, I just don't see him leaving Tampa, though. Like, so what is Tampa able to pay him? Even if it's a 1-year deal, what can they give him?
Well, we're assuming at this point that Tampa Bay is going to be giving out smaller deals to acquire more talent, and everybody's kind of buying in a la the Patriot way that they had for years because Tom's there. Every kind of older guys chasing a ring, coming to town, maybe taking a smaller deal. Who knows if Gronk will hit the open market, if they will be able to pay him, if Tom will be his quarterback. I'd assume there'll be other people interested.